Your survival was never about you. Why the strong Black woman myth is killing your business and your soul. Good evening. I want to start tonight by introducing you to someone whose story will shake the ground beneath your feet. Her name is Laticia Walton. And on January 17th, 2025, she was shot twice, once in the face and once in the back, and stabbed 37 times. 9 of those stab wounds pierced her heart. She spent 7 days in a coma. She endured multiple surgeries. The doctors didn't think she would make it, but she did. And when she woke up, she said something that changed everything for me. She said, "But God, I live to help others survive, not I survived, so now I need to get back to normal. Not I survived, so I should be grateful and move on. But I survived because someone else needs to know they can too." Laticia Walton is a living, breathing testament to the truth that your survival is not random. It is evidence. Evidence that you are meant to be here. Evidence that your story carries strategy for someone else's freedom. Evidence that the world still needs what only you can give. And tonight, I want to share with you the insights from my conversation with Laticia, insights that will challenge everything you have been taught about strength, survival, and what it truly means to thrive after trauma. Because here is what Laticia helped me see, and what I believe will shift something deep inside of you tonight. We have been sold a lie. The lie is this: that once you survive, once you make it out alive, you should be grateful, get back to work, and keep grinding. That survival itself is the finish line. That if you are still standing, you are fine. That if you are still functioning, you are healed. But survival is not the finish line. Survival is the starting line for a whole new race, one that requires you to unlearn everything that kept you alive, but is now keeping you from truly living. Let me say that again because I need you to hear this. The very things that helped you survive, hyperindependence, emotional shutdown, constant vigilance, the inability to rest, those same things are now the barriers to your healing, your joy, and your freedom. And for so many Black women, especially those of us who have spent decades leading, building, caring for everyone else, this truth hits different because we were taught that being strong means being silent, that being capable means being alone, that asking for help is weak, and that rest is something you earn only after everyone else is okay. But Letitia's story and the stories of women like Lisa Nichols, Dr. Thema Bryant, and Tarana Burke tell us something radically different. They tell us that softness is not a liability, softness is a strategy, and learning to receive love, support, therapy, rest, and community after trauma is its own healing journey, one that requires just as much courage as surviving in the first place. Let me take you into Letitia's world for a moment because her insights are not built on theory. They are built on lived experience and on the experiences of women who have walked through fire and chosen to turn their survival into a blueprint for others. Letitia told me that the hardest part was not surviving the attack. The hardest part was learning to let people in afterward, learning to receive softness, learning to believe she deserved care, rest, and support, not because she earned it, but because she is human. And this is where we have to talk about what happens after survival, because here is what nobody tells you. The world celebrates your survival, but it does not give you space to heal from it. The world wants you to be inspirational, but it does not want you to be honest about how hard it is to trust again, to sleep again, to feel safe in your own body again. The world wants your testimony, but it does not want your therapy bill. The world wants your strength, but it does not want your tears. And so you learn to perform. You learn to smile through the pain. You learn to show up for everyone else while you are falling apart inside. You learn to be the strong friend, the dependable leader, the unshakable woman, because that is what the world rewards. But here is the truth: that performance is killing you. It is killing your joy. It is killing your peace. It is killing your business, and it is killing your soul. This brings me to the first insight I want to leave with you tonight. Your survival is evidence, not accident. If you are still here, especially after abuse, after violence, after betrayal, after burnout, it is not random. Your story carries strategy for someone else's survival and success. You are not just building a business, you are building a blueprint. You are not just healing yourself, you are paving a path for someone who is still in the fire, watching you, wondering if they can make it out too. But here's what we have to understand: you cannot build a sustainable business, career, or life on a foundation of unhealed trauma. You cannot lead others well if you have not learned to lead yourself with compassion. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And sis, if we are being honest, your cup has been empty for years. You have been running on fumes, on faith, on the faint memory of what it felt like to be whole. And the world has told you that this is noble, that this is strength. But it is not strength, it is survival. And there is a difference. Let me tell you about Lisa Nichols. Lisa is a Black woman from South Central Los Angeles who survived domestic violence and poverty. At her lowest point, she had $11.42 in her bank account. She was a single mother carrying shame, battling the pressure to be strong while silently suffering. The world told her to keep going, to keep grinding, to keep being strong. But she made a different choice. She left the abusive relationship. She prioritized her safety and the safety of her son. And then she did something radical. She sought help. She invested in personal development, emotional healing, and community support. She rebuilt her sense of self worth, not by pretending the trauma never happened, but by turning her survival story into a mission driven business. Today, Lisa Nichols is the CEO of Motivating the Masses, one of the first publicly traded personal development companies. She is a globally recognized speaker and author, and she has helped thousands of people, particularly women and people of color, heal, build confidence, and step into purpose driven entrepreneurship. But here is what I want you to hear: Lisa did not build that empire by grinding harder. She built it by healing deeper. She built it by being honest about her pain, by normalizing therapy and support, by modeling what it looks like to build a values based, profitable business rooted in healing and transparency. Her story reframes survival as a platform for impact, showing that trauma can inform, not define, your leadership. This is the second insight. Softness is a strategy, not a liability. In a world that profits from Black exhaustion, in a world that has built entire industries on the backs of our strength, our resilience, our ability to keep going no matter what, choosing softness is an act of rebellion. It is a business decision. It is a leadership decision. It is a legacy decision. Because here's the truth: when you commit to healing, when you make therapy non negotiable, when you build boundaries into your business model, when you honor your nervous system and your need for rest, something shifts. Your clarity sharpens, your creativity expands, your capacity to serve deepens, and the people you attract, clients, collaborators, community, they are aligned with the healed version of you, not the surviving version. Softness sharpens your clarity, creativity, and calling. It does not weaken you, it refines you. Let me tell you about Dr. Thema Bryant. Dr. Bryant is a Black clinical psychologist, an ordained minister, and the president of the American Psychological Association. Her work centers on trauma, violence, and the healing journeys of Black communities. She integrates psychology, faith, and liberation focused healing, showing how trauma survivors can reclaim power and lead. Dr. Bryant has spent her career addressing intimate partner violence, racial trauma, and sexual violence in Black communities, where stigma and silence around mental health are common. She challenges Western individualistic mental health models that ignore culture, faith, and community. And she uses her platform, her books, her podcast, Homecoming, to normalize therapy and healing for Black survivors of violence and trauma. What Dr. Bryan shows us is that you can be both deeply spiritual and deeply committed to psychological science in your healing and leadership. You do not have to choose between faith and therapy. You do not have to choose between being a strong Black woman and being a woman who needs support. You can be both. You must be both. Because here's what happens when you do not build healing into your leadership: you burn out, you self sabotage, you recreate the same patterns that hurt you in the first place. You attract toxic clients, toxic partners, toxic work environments, because unhealed trauma has a frequency and it calls to itself. But when you prioritize healing, when you integrate therapy, boundaries, and rest into your life and your business, you shift the frequency, you shift what you attract, you shift what you create. This is the third insight. Healing must be built into your business model and career path. Therapy, spiritual support, safety planning, boundaries, trauma informed practices, these are not extra. They are not luxury items. They are part of responsible leadership. As you scale your career or company, you must simultaneously scale your healing, your support systems, and your safety personally and professionally. Let me tell you about Tarana Burke. Tarana is a Black woman activist who founded the Me Too movement long before it became a global hashtag. She is a survivor of sexual violence herself, and she spent years working with young Black girls who disclosed abuse but lacked access to trauma informed support and justice. She operated for years with limited resources, visibility, and mainstream recognition, but she kept going. She created the Me Too framework to build empathy, solidarity, and healing for survivors, especially Black and Brown girls and women. Today, the Me Too movement is a global catalyst for public conversations about sexual violence and survivor support. It has expanded resources, conversations, and policies around workplace harassment, abuse, and institutional accountability. And it put the lived experiences of Black women survivors at the center of a global narrative. But here's what Tarana will tell you: the movement was not built on her strength alone. It was built on her willingness to be vulnerable, to center survivor stories and mental health, to emphasize that healing, safety, and community support are essential. She turned her survival into a platform, yes, but she also turned her healing into a model for how movements should be built, with care, with rest, with boundaries, with the understanding that you cannot liberate others if you are still in chains yourself. So here's what I want to leave you with tonight. If your survival is not an accident, and I promise you it is not, then what are you willing to stop carrying alone? Who do you need to invite into your healing and business journey starting this week? Because here's the truth: your story is not just about what happened to you, your story is about what someone else will survive because you chose to heal out loud. Your story is about the business you will build, the boundaries you will set, the rest you will take, the therapy sessions you will show up to, the community you will lean on, and the legacy you will leave. You are not broken. You are a survivor in process. And your softness, your willingness to receive love and support, your commitment to healing, that is not weakness. That is wisdom, that is strategy, that is strength. The world has been lying to you. The world has been telling you that your value is in your productivity, your strength is in your silence, your worth is in your ability to keep going no matter what. But I am here to tell you tonight that your value is in your humanity. Your strength is in your honesty. Your worth is in your willingness to heal. So I want to challenge you. I want to disrupt the narrative you have been living by. I want you to stop waiting for permission to rest. Stop waiting for permission to heal. Stop waiting for permission to be soft. Stop waiting for the world to tell you that you have done enough, that you have suffered enough, that you have earned the right to take care of yourself. Because the world will never tell you that. The world will keep taking and taking and taking until there is nothing left. But you get to decide. You get to say enough. You get to say, I am choosing me. You get to say, I am building a life and a business that honors my healing, not just my hustle. You get to say, I am done performing strength and ready to practice softness. Here is your call to action. In the next 7 days, I want you to choose one brave, soft action. Book the therapy session you have been putting off. Call the friend you have been avoiding because you do not want to be vulnerable. Create the safety plan you know you need. Start the journal where you tell the truth about what you survived. Set the boundary you have been too afraid to set. Rest without justifying it. Ask for help without apologizing for it. Whatever your next soft, courageous step is, take it. Because the world is not waiting for the version of you that has it all together. The world is waiting for the version of you that is healing out loud. The world is waiting for the version of you that chooses softness over survival mode. The world is waiting for the version of you that builds a business, a career, a life rooted in wholeness, not woundedness. Your survival was never about you. It was always about the person watching you, wondering if they can make it too. It was always about the blueprint you are building. It was always about the freedom you are creating, not just for yourself, but for every Black woman who comes after you. So stop carrying it alone. Stop performing. Stop surviving when you were meant to thrive. Your softness is your superpower. Your healing is your strategy. Your story is your legacy. Now go build it.